Yes.
So Patrick, there's been times when you've been criticized for being solely a striker. This is the second fight in a row you've won with your top game and your ground and pound. Is this the best Patrick Cote we've been? Is this the next evolution of your game?
I don't know if it's the best, but I think it's the more complete of myself, a version of myself. I think I improve a lot my wrestling and my ground game, like you said, especially against Noak and now with Riggs. That Riggs is well known as a good wrestler. I think I showed that even if I was a little bit in trouble in the first and third round, I was able to reverse the situation and pull the trigger and won those rounds.
Did you expect this kind of a performance out of Joe Riggs?
Oh yeah, the guy has 55 fights. This guy is a warrior. He's been in the game forever. He looks older than me, but he's younger actually. He's been through so many wars, and he's a veteran. And a lot of people was looking after him, during this fight, before the fight, because everybody said, "Oh, that was good. It's gonna be a walk in the park for me." I was like, man, that's a big mistake. You never can underestimate a guy who has so many fights, so many experience. You can't buy experience. You fight and you work for it, and when you have it, nobody can take that away from you.
You were in some dangerous positions in the first and third round, and it seemed every time you got in danger, the crowd just went wild for you. Did that help motivate you?
Let me tell you something, man. If a guy, especially in Montreal, if you're from Montreal and you're in the cage and you say, when you fight, you can't hear anything outside the cage, he's a liar, man. Trust me. Especially here in Montreal, I know there's not a lot of people that it was supposed to, but it felt like 20,000 people over there. It felt like the crowd is loud, and you can feel the support for sure.
Well, and it does seem like there are less cards in Canada right now than there were. But just talk to me about, what is it like as a guy just fighting in your hometown and fighting in front of Canadian?
It's awesome. That a lot of guys. I'm gonna talk for me, but I always said I don't put more pressure of me because I'm fighting at home. It's fun, I can sleep in my own bed, I can cook my own food in my house, but that's a lie, man. You always put a little bit more pressure on you because you fight home and you want to give a good performance, you want to give a good show, and that's what I tried to tonight, and I'm just happy that I won in Montreal finally with no controversy at the end. That's a real win now, so I'm happy.
Is it important for the young Canadians, and not just the ones who are in the UFC now, but the ones who might be coming watching? Is it important for the sport to have these major events in Canada?
Oh, for sure. The major problem here in Montreal right now, and not in Montreal but in Canada, it's serious organization who are able to develop young talent. Because in Canada, in Quebec, in province of Quebec, we have a lot of young kids. They're trained with the best, but they can't fight anywhere. So it's hard to just build those guys to, replace me, replace George, because one day we're not going to be there. Trust me, I'm not going to fight until 50. So
why do you think that is, Patrick? I mean, when you came up, there was, UCC and TKO and a million other shows for you guys to develop in. Why do you think it's fallen by the wayside and there's just less MMA promotions in Quebec and really across Canada? Do you think it's just because the UFC is so big and runs so many fights now there's less interest, or do you think it's something different at the grassroots?
It's hard to say, but I think that a lot of guys who were trying to make a good organization, they were seeing money at the end, but it's hard to make money with those kind of small organization. You have to it's more a developing thing that you're gonna be rich with that, and you can see that a new organization, they always do like 1 or 2 shows and they disappear after. So it's bad for those guys, because in my time, and I'm old. In my time, there was a lot of places that we could fight and just express ourselves to move up to the organization.
Tom Wright spoke about potentially seeing the UFC long-term get involved in sort of a minor league type system in Canada. Do you think that's a good idea, and how would you envision that working?
I think it's a great idea, because right now to go in the UFC, the best way to go in the UFC, it's tough. It's the ultimate fighter season. That's the easiest way, and it's not easy. And if you're a guy like Conor McGregor, who's like you have a character and you're good, you're gonna make the UFC. But if you're not that, you have to pass by the Ultimate Fighter. And the Ultimate Fighter, it's not easy. That doesn't mean that you're gonna have a contract at the end if you don't win the show. So it's really, really hard now to join the UFC, because there's nowhere you can fight to prove your skills.
Speaking of the Ultimate Fighter, did you feel a lot of pride seeing 2 guys that you coached in the Ultimate Fighter, Olivier Aubin-Mercier and Chad Laprise, win tonight under on the card underneath you?
Yeah, but I knew those guys before. I'm happy for them. They're not my training partner, but I'm happy for them. It's a Canadian fellow, so it's great. It's great to have those young guys. They're gonna be able to be the next generation of Canadian fighter in the UFC.
Are you turning around and working the broadcast tonight?
Yes, I'm going there. I'm going to take a shower and I'm going to the booth right now.
So what fight are you looking most forward to calling?
Man, I'm a big fan of Maldonado. I don't know why, but I'm a big fan of him. He's throwing so many punches. He's a gamer. He's always going forward. I love watching him, man. He doesn't care of anybody, and Rampage is a character. He's always fun to watch. So this one, because I know that it's gonna be hard to follow the last fight. Like 125 pounds. You just watch them and you're out of breath. It's awesome. But in my head, Demetrius Johnson is the best fighter pound for pound in the world. It's just unreal. So I can't wait to see him perform too.